What will you be listed with this week?
Toe. Think it's healing slowly. We got to get more treatment on it, and obviously, you got to keep a good eye on these hangnails because they can spread like wildfire.
Does that put a lot of pressure on a player, with all the injury report stuff, just considering what happened last week? I mean, injuries are going to happen in these games, right? Like you said last week, you're always going to be feeling something.
Oh no, it don't. It doesn't put any pressure on us. I guess it puts more pressure on our staff and things like that. They gotta put meaningless things on the paper, even though you're gonna play or whatever it is. They gotta put, oh, his ankle sore, his hip sore, or he got a bruise on his hand, and so that.
Since the guys don't like to bring up any bumps and bruises they might be feeling just for that reason, they want their chance to get in and play.
No, I mean guys are just tough. You know what I mean? Guys are tough. If you're gonna play, what's the point? But I guess, from what I understand, the rule is for the gamblers, for Vegas, to make sure that the odds and everything are what they're supposed to be, which is apparently what the league is concerned about when talking about injuries and things like that. So maybe somebody should look into that, because I thought we weren't a gambling league and we were against all those things. But our injury report is specifically to make sure the gamblers get their odds right. So, I mean, that's fantasy football. Yeah, oh my God, they're almost as bad as the gamblers.
Do you know lines on the games? I mean, do you look at them at all?
I do not, but I'm sure they're affected by injury reports. I have not yet checked the line on the game. I think somebody said we were heavy favorites last week, so I'm sure people were disappointed with that.
So the mechanics of it, do you come in and say, wow, my hamstring's a little sore, and then all of a sudden you end up on a report, or how's it?
Well, it could be anything. It could be, you're at practice and you jam your thumb and you say, oh, man, my thumb's sore, and you finish practice and then you go in there and, do some thumb exercises or get some ice or some treatment, then you're on an injury report for a thumb. Or you say, yeah, my hamstring's a little tight, get it rubbed out or massaged, and then you're on an injury report for a hamstring, you just anything they gotta monitor, they're pretty on it.
You mentioned after the game, this defense, all the Pro Bowl caliber guys, paid guys. Do you guys like kind of that pressure on you that everyone looks at that side of the ball as they got to get it done?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you will ever find a great defense that doesn't want the pressure on them. If you find a great defense that doesn't want the pressure on them, then you didn't find a great defense. And that's the kind of defense we are. We want all the pressure, all the because we get all the as anybody who's seen our defense and seen how they're paid would say, they get a lot of the money, so you would expect them to produce, and we appreciate that.
Pete said on Monday your injury was enough that 99% of the players in the NFL might not have been able to play with that. Did you hear
Pete
that?
exaggerates a little bit. If y'all known Pete long enough to not know Pete exaggerates, I don't know. I like playing football, and I thought I had a chance from the beginning of the week to the end of the week. What they thought was different, but I don't ever think I was concerned about it. They had to do some finagling to convince them because they didn't believe in my special abilities.
What's the closest you've come to not playing? With the elbow leading up to the Super Bowl, or?
No, there was no chance of that one. That's the one they didn't fight me on. It was like, you're going to play, right? I'm trying to think. Maybe the ankle. I had an ankle a couple years ago, real bad sprain that I almost got held out, but it got better throughout the week. It was swollen. It was freaking like a balloon. The hamstring, I mean, I guess maybe in their eyes it might have been as close as I've ever come. But it's mostly on them, not us. That's the thing about football sometimes. If they take it out of your hands, they're like, oh, we don't want to get you hurt for the long run, so you got to watch you. They got to monitor it. Because real ball players will pretty much play through anything, unless you can't walk or you can't move your arms or you can't, do your job effectively. You're going to try to be out there, and you always feel like you can do your job effectively.
How did the hamstring affect you in Green Bay?
It was sore. Certain lateral movements I wasn't able to get done as good as I had usually been able to get them done. But as long as they didn't notice. But yeah, it were certain plays. I just stayed on top of the guys and made sure that kept top on the defense. We lost you, bro. Hello? Okay. I think we lost you.
No, we still hear you.
We can still hear you.
Okay, cool.
When you take a look at this week's game and Mariota and what he's been able to do in just a few years in the league, I guess how do you kind of characterize him and approach that offense?
Then first off, you didn't come to my press conference after the game. I had an attitude about that. Let's address that. Okay, cool. He's developed over the years great. He's always been fantastic in the red zone since he was young. Very efficient down there. I think a lot of people pegged him as a one-trick pony coming out of Oregon. Obviously, they have their system that they run. I think he's developed. He goes through his whole progression. He stays poised in the pocket and drop back. I think he's uses his legs less nowadays. I mean, there's still some facets of their offense where they obviously have zone read components and play to his strengths. But a lot of times in the drop back, one single back passing game, he does a great job just scanning the defense, taking what they give him. So that all comes with time for a young quarterback, and I think it's coming for him.
In the red zone, space is tight down there. So what does he do that is better than others, I guess, when you get down there?
Well, I think he just picks his spots. He certain things he likes. He doesn't take a lot of risks. If it's not there, he'll use his legs. He'll check it down to the back. He does a great job of anticipating where the holes are in the defense because it's less space down there, but there are still holes in every defense. Even man-to-man has weaknesses because you can just run and run people into each other and pick people off, et cetera, et cetera. And he understands when it's man and when it's zone and where those holes are.
You talked post-game Sunday about the defense being willing to take the pressure and the offense are a lot of new guys. Do you have that conversation with the offense during the week, or do you guys talk about that kind of thing?
No, we don't. We don't think about it. We don't talk about it with them at all. It's just something that's kind of unspoken. Guys go out there and we got a lot of moving parts on the offensive line. Obviously, new faces. The running back situation is still figuring itself out. Last week we had a rookie run for 95 yards and 20 carries and did a fantastic job, but it's still working itself out. And while they're still working itself out, we got a lot of the same faces. We got a lot of continuity on our defense and a lot of guys who've played high-quality, high-level football. So we would expect it to be on our backs. There's a lot of leaders on the defense, a lot of guys who have played championship-winning football, and we would expect nothing else.
What stands out about the way you guys have played on defense over the first two games?
I think the front seven has been ferocious. I think Sheldon has been an incredible addition. He's helped take some of the stress off Mike Bennett, some of the double teams off Mike Bennett, some of the slides away from Mike B. and Cliff. Sometimes you could just slide the whole line to Mike B. and Cliff, but, I guess that's how Frank got 10 sacks. You can't just leave Frank alone. So it's made them even more dynamic. I think it's opened some things up for Bobby and KJ to be more aggressive. It's just fun, man. It's just fun, just being out there every down, every play, every game, because crazy stuff's going to happen, man. It's chaotic.
Hey, Richard, there's been a few commentary and articles this week and last week about how the NFL game is getting more boring and the quality of play is not as good and ratings are down. How do you feel about that?
I think they say that just about every year. If they took some of the rules out, it'd be a more exciting game. I think every year they put in more rules to help the offense score more points and limit the defense in another way. And I think after a while it gets irritating to see. One side can go basically do whatever they want, and if they're not efficient, when they can pretty much do whatever they want, then it's not as fun to watch. It's not like it used to be where it's two hard-nosed football teams going at it, a physical battle, a mental chess game. A lot of times you'll see at times a bad offense get away with egregious penalties and things that allow them to move the ball down the field and win ball games that they probably shouldn't win because that's the way the rules are designed to give them a chance to win these ball games. I think that obviously the college game has changed in terms of the spread offenses, not allowing these O-linemen to learn how to run block. A lot of these kids are becoming D linemen. A lot of these real athletic tight ends and people that be receivers or running backs and things like that are D ends because they want to rush the passer. They want to make a lot of money. It's much easier to learn to rush the passer than it is to stop somebody from rushing the passer. I think you're losing a lot of your athletes to that. And at the end of the day, I think it's on the league to figure it out, to figure out what they need to do to make the game more exciting and more watchable because, it's frustrating as players, especially on the defensive side. There are players out there that that it's so complex that the officials have to confer with one another to make sure that it's a rule. They're like, wait, what's the rule that we got to do? You know, and when your rule book's that thick, it's ridiculous. You know, it's hard to play the game. It's hard to watch it. It's hard to officiate it. I think if they simplified it, I'm sure the NBA's rule book isn't, you know, a freaking, you know, 2 feet thick. I'm sure soccer's rule book, MLB, isn't 2 feet thick. It's a lot of straightforward things, and I think if the league had that, it'd be better.
This is out of left field. This is out of left field, so I apologize. But in the spirit of competition Wednesday, who is winning the competition for best beard on the team?
Best beard? Oh my God! Come on. The fact that you asked me means I'm in it. The fact that you asked me who's winning the competition for best beard means I'm in it. You know, right now I feel like I got to be in it. I think Roos has a great beard going. Trying to think of all the great beards. Cam has a solid beard going, not his best work. Earl has a surprisingly good beard going. I'm sure I'm missing somebody really important. Who do you got in your? Oh, Hoyt. Hoyt has a phenomenal beard. There you go. That's the winner. That's easily the winner. He's Dollar Beard Club.
Thanks for humoring me.
No problem. Richard, I got a quick one. Damaris Smith getting unanimously voted. Any comments on that or? Oh yeah. You know, it was awesome. You know, it was awesome to see. He's done great work for our union and for our men, and the executive committee and the 2 other members, player reps that are part of that committee, thought it was the right decision. Talk with him quite a bit, or? We do have conversations. The rest of the executive committee about a number of things. Obviously, anything that has to do with our players and our union is discussed. So we've had countless discussions. Thanks. Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.